He's got enormous power. He also had a walk-off homer against the Dodgers in this ballpark in September. That ball is hammered. Deep left center. It is gone. Into the Oriole bullpen. 2-0 Baltimore. Basayo came into the game hitting only 135. It's been a real struggle for him. And Basayo had not had a hit in this series.
Sammy called a great game, and we got the win. I think my ultimate goal was to ride with Sam. What he called, we had a good game plan, I think, coming into the game, and my only thought was to execute. Yeah, just continue to stay the same course. Execution was really good early on, and just continuing to try and mix stuff and execute the pitch called.
Yeah, the Orioles finish off a series win over the Giants yesterday, and Cade Povich, the hero. Samuel Basayo with the early home run. Orioles win 6-2. They take 2 out of 3 from the Giants over the weekend, thanks to NBC Sports Bay Area and Masson for those video clips. Good morning. It is a Monday edition of Glenn Clark Radio. I'm Glenn. He's Griffin. And what a lovely weekend it turned out to be. I got off to a bit of a dull start on Friday night for all of the pomp and circumstance of 410 Day and Fancy Clancy and City Connects and the free the transportation and the whole deal. Just not a whole lot of life in a 6-3 loss, save for Gunnar Henderson's 9th inning home run. And then you got to throw Chris Bassett, and we're not going to do the bit where we pretend like Chris Bassett was good because the Orioles won the game. He was not. That's 3 starts, and we haven't seen a good start yet for Chris Bassett. And the concerns about, is this Charlie Morton part 2? I understand.
Well, in Charlie Morton's third start, he was giving up, 12 runs? And
maybe.
I think that was the Easter start. That's what I'm thinking.
Maybe. We're not going to
give up 1.
Right. We're not going to pretend like Chris Bassett was good on Saturday.
I'm not pretending he was good. I'm not calling him Charlie Morton, though, after his third start. Charlie Morton was Charlie Morton.
What I would say is that we can give him a little bit more time to figure that out. But how much more time? And it's a fair question to ask. Is Chris Bassett just reaching the end, right? We all can say, hey, a year ago, the Blue Jays had some other guys that were stepping up, and there had been some injury stuff. And so, yeah, I guess, you can make sense of the fact that he wasn't in the postseason rotation. But the truth is, Chris Bassett hasn't been the same guy the last 2 years that he was before that. And is that a sign that he's just slipping towards the end of his career? I don't know. Lots of time to try to change that. Presumably, I don't think the Orioles are suddenly going to say, all right, Povich and Kramer are in the rotation and Bassett is out. I think right now they're going to continue to do the 6-man thing. Obviously, they're going to do it this week, and we'll go from there. I don't think they're going to do anything until at least a month into the season. I think Bassett's going to have more starts to make, but he's under the radar. Or he's on the radar, under the microscope. I know things. Idioms. I've got them.
Charlie Morton actually, he made it through 5 innings in his third start against against the Diamondbacks.
Yeah.
And he let up 4 runs.
Okay.
He only walked 5 guys.
There you go. Chris Bassett, I don't believe, has gotten to 5 innings yet. So there's that. But yeah, Saturday, you throw in Chris Bassett against Logan Webb. You're like, oh boy,
I was definitely doing that.
That math doesn't.
Oh, well, at least we'll get him tomorrow. Let's check in the probables here.
All right. And sure enough, the offense comes to life. Big games. Jeremiah Jackson, I guess we can tell you. Yeah, Jeremiah Jackson is going to go on the board for Saturday.
Can you tell which one is which? I just want to make
sure.
Yeah,
I do know which one. Although I'm starting to worry about the printer because he looks more blue than anything else. Starting to worry that we're reaching that point of time with the printer. But Jeremiah Jackson will go up for Saturday, and then obviously Cade Povich goes up for yesterday. Man, that was ballsy. Happy birthday, Cade Povich, who turned 26 years old yesterday and worked 6 2/3 innings, allowing just 1 run and no walks, 5 hits. Just phenomenal stuff. And I assume that the plan was going to be to just send him back down afterwards to make a spot for Dean Kramer. But I don't know. Do they think about that at all? Do they say to Nick Roque, like, hey, it was nice to meet you, but...
Yes. Was it nice to meet him? I
don't know. He definitely wasn't good. There's no doubt about that. He got rocked on Friday night. It sort of seems like a very Orioles thing to do, to say it's what they did with Brandon Young last week, right? Like, hey, you made a start, you were great, but we're not putting you in the rotation yet. Although this is unique because presumably they want someone to start on Saturday because they're going to use the other 5 guys this week, and I don't think maybe it's different with Dean Kramer, and they'd be more inclined to let Dean Kramer pitch on normal rest on Saturday. But that would mean, obviously, that then Trevor Rogers would pitch on normal rest on Sunday, and they don't have a day off on the Monday, right? Like, their day off is Thursday the following week, so then Kyle Bradish is pitching. I just don't think they want to do that. I don't think they want those guys pitching on normal rest. So even if they were to let Dean Kramer, make the Saturday start, then I would think they would want a starter for Sunday to prevent Rogers and Bradish from going on normal rest right now. So the argument would be, well, why wouldn't it be Cade Povich? Hasn't he earned that? And the Orioles might say, yeah, he had a nice start, but so did Brandon Young. So we'll bring Brandon Young back up and let him start this weekend because he's been down long enough that we don't need an injury to bring him back up.
They optioned him on the 7th.
Is that the date? So that would be
the 20th. It has to be 15 days, right?
Is it 15 or is it 10?
I thought it was.
It might be. If it's 15, then you're right. It wouldn't be 15. It would not. If they let him start on Sunday, it would not be 15 because he started on Monday. So simple math would tell you that would be 13 days. But I don't know why I thought it was 10, not 15. You might be right.
I'm trying to double check. I'm pretty sure 10 days for position players, 15 for pitchers, because they don't want you to
manipulate the rotation.
These guys.
Exactly what I was suggesting that they would do.
Yeah.
I guess that's why I got confused. 10 days for position players. Of course. All right, so that wouldn't be the option. So it's either Povich or at that point maybe, again, Suarez could make a start for you depending on how you use him this week, or Tyler Wells, I guess, could make a start for you if you wanted to send Povich back down. I would be inclined to agree with you and say just adios, Roque, nice to meet you. Best of luck to you, the whole deal, but we'll see what it is the Orioles do. Is obviously
what they'll probably do is they'll probably find a way to put him on the IL. And
who?
Roque.
Oh, Roque, yeah, and then they can bring up Brandon Young if they want at that point. That's true. So look, man, we'll see. We know that Dean Kramer is going to start today, so they have to do something. They have to do something in order to clear a spot for Dean Kramer because he was literally in Baltimore stretching out on the field yesterday. So clearly,
it was a beautiful day. Maybe he just wanted
to drive up to Baltimore.
Yeah, get some work in.
It's weird because he doesn't play for the Orioles right now. Just strange. Are they just letting anybody come up and work out on the field? So clearly,
not Jackson Holiday.
That's true. Clearly, Dean Kramer is going to start tonight for the Birds, and we will see what the plan is from there. Obviously, like the subtext of the weekend was more bad news, despite the fact that the Orioles did win the series and now have won 5 of their last 6. But, like, Tyler O'Neill thing, God, that's terrifying. It was just like feeling lightheaded and sick and ends up falling and suffering a concussion. Holy hell, man. That is awful. And just awful. And then you add in, obviously, Adley Rutschman gets hurt on Saturday. Now, again, the news appears to be good with Adley Rutschman. It appears to be just some inflammation that doesn't look like it's going to be a long-term thing. But they also, kind of wild, they let Samuel Basallo catch on a Saturday night and then again on a Sunday afternoon. I did not expect that.
No. They have Handley, right?
Yeah, they brought up Handley.
So will we see him tonight, or do you think they're just going to say, yeah, this kid's 21, we gave him
$80
million
of money, like, let's see if he's made out of rubber? I don't know. I don't know. I mean, maybe that was addressed and I just missed it, but wild to me. Almost never do you see a catcher catch a day game after a night game. That almost never happens, and yet Basallo did it and hit a big home run and apparently called a very good game. So who knows? But Maverick Hanley is here. And then on top of that, the news does not appear to be good for Ryan Mountcastle. And what?
I mean, it's just ridiculous. It's just unbelievable with all these mounting injuries.
Oh yeah, it's over the top, right? Like there's no getting around that.
And in freak ways, where apparently Mountcastle and Adley both getting hurt running the bases.
Yeah, yeah. A broken fourth metacarpal. You of course know which one the fourth metacarpal is.
Is that?
I know you're more of a second metacarpal man yourself, but the fourth metacarpal.
The fourth toe. Is that what that means?
Sure. That's the one that Ryan Mountcastle broke, and appears it's going to be a bit of time for Ryan Mountcastle that he'll be out. And so we saw the debut of a human being that I had never heard of before yesterday, and I feel bad. I'm sure he's a swell fella and, walks old ladies across the street and the whole deal, but it was nice to meet Jonathan Rodriguez, who apparently is a Baltimore Oriole. Good for him. And got a walk yesterday. So on top of that, he takes the spot of Ryan Mountcastle, at least for now.
You're not familiar with J-Rod's work?
Yeah, J-Rod, I know.
Yeah.
It's weird because I kept hearing them talk about him, and yet I had never seen him actually perform, so it was nice to see him out there. So, weird weekend is, I think, the only way I can go about explaining it. I did think that, and I apologize for not remembering who made it.
It's a winning weekend.
That's true. I apologize because I don't remember which player made the point, but a point was brought up this weekend of we're going through all of this and yet figuring out ways to win. And
I feel like that was Bassett. That felt like something Bassett said.
Good message, wrong messenger, if that's the case. But sure.
Well, he's supposed to be your cowboy or whatever.
Yeah,
right?
He's a veteran. He posts up. I get it. And all the stuff that Buck always talks about. And there is something to be said for that. That a team that's been through all of these things is a game over 500 and did win 5 of their last 6, despite the fact that, Samuel Basallo had to bat cleanup, despite the fact that he hadn't hit at all. He's never hit in the major leagues in his life, and he had to be your cleanup hitter. And, guys are contributing. Kobe Mayo contributed, despite the fact that he's been off to a very difficult start to the season. There's definitely something. It was Bassett. This is from Matt Wyrick of the Baltimore Sun. Quote, I think we've been treading water for the last 2 weeks, essentially. I think we've been playing pretty bad at times. I think we've been playing okay at times, but we for sure have not been playing well. But good teams find a way to tread water when they're not playing well, and for us to be 500 speaks a lot about this group. There's not a lot of panic, so to speak. It's just more so just like, hey, we're trying to build something special here. It takes time. If you're not exactly shooting on all cylinders, so to speak, when it comes to 12, 13 games into the season, it's part of it. The league is really, really hard. So, again, it's just health in April. If you're healthy, I'm okay. As long as you're healthy, you're all right. Maybe that sounded better than it read. It read kind of like a jumbled word salad, if I'm being honest with you.
I have it here, but it's like 4 minutes long. So
all right, we're not going to do the whole thing.
And you want to listen to it?
No, I think I'm all right. Well, I think a lot of people reacted to how Pete Alonso sounded on Friday night. And like that was kind of eye-opening to me. And I do think both things are true because a lot of people brought up the idea of, hey, you appreciate the accountability from Pete Alonso, who on Friday night was stammering. I mean, Pete Alonso on Friday night sounded like he was wearing it. Like what had happened to start the season was really getting to him. And he was repeating himself and stammering, and somebody would say, so it sounded like Glenn Clark Radio? And it at times just didn't appear to be focused. But I did appreciate that every long-winded answer came back to, but I need to be better and I will be. And I did appreciate the accountability. And obviously, yesterday, Pete Alonso was better. He was a big part of the reason why the Orioles won. I would say arguably the biggest hit of the game. After the Giants got a run back, got within 1, Pete Alonso coming up with that 2-run double was massive. 2 outs, if I remember correctly. I did not panic myself about Pete Alonso's start. I have no thought that this is Chris Davis all over again, or this is Glenn Davis all over again, or all the dumb things that we like to say. But I get it. The Orioles need Pete Alonso to be better, not just because of the money they paid him, but because that was it. That was their upgrade. He had to make up for the fact that in other areas on paper, they're not even as good. And again, we all recognize Taylor Ward has performed above the level that we could have most expected from him to start the season. But they need Pete Alonso to be better. They need Pete Alonso to be that version of Pete Alonso. This math doesn't work without it. But I have so little concern about a slow start for Pete Alonso. To me, this still remains a worst case. I think in 2024, he got off to a similarly slow start, and his worst offensive season was 34 home runs and, I believe, 90 RBI.
Ugh, terrible.
By the way, would be disappointing. I mean, it would be. But if that's the bottom, if that is the base level of what could come for Pete Alonso, that's going to be plenty good enough. Orioles will stay home, open up a 3-game set against the Diamondbacks tonight. Obviously, as we talked about, Dean Kramer will start this one as they continue to go with the 6-man rotation here at the beginning of the year. Coming up in just a couple of minutes, Ryan Spilborghs will join us, but maybe he shouldn't because he called the only game the Orioles lost in the last week. So
we're going to fight him? Is that what you're
I don't know, man.
saying?
Maybe he's the problem. Maybe he's the problem. I'm a Spilly Goat. MLB Network Radio does lots of TV for Apple. We'll check in with Ryan Spilborghs here in a minute. Darryl Strawberry will join us a little bit later on. You know him.
Yeah, DJ Strawberry's dad, right? That's how I know.
I know you're a Maryland fan. Obviously a baseball legend, baseball icon. He's got a new book out called Another Life. We'll talk to him about that. We're also going to talk to him a lot about Pete Alonso and his slow start. As obviously somebody who knows a thing or two about leaving the Mets. Darryl Strawberry will join us. We'll go 3 up and 3 down later in the program as well. All of that on tap here on a Monday edition of the program. Today's show is brought to you by the Stan the Fan Variety Hour. Stan, Ross Grimsley, and Luke Jackson will be back in action today at 5:30, talking about the week that was for the Birds and getting you ready for the Diamondbacks series. Facebook.com/PressBoxSports is how you watch it live. YouTube.com/PressBoxOnline or PressBoxOnline.com/video. If you miss it live, you can check it out there. Stan's shows, as always, are brought to you by Warnken Law and the Costas Inn with 2 great locations. One, the OG in Dundalk, the new one in Timonium at the track. Well, as I mentioned, our next guest, who we like a lot, but again, he called the only game the Orioles lost all week. He, of course, is the man. You know him as Spilly Goat, MLB Network Radio, Apple TV, and former Rocky. The great Ryan Spilborghs is back with us now here on GCR. Ryan, it's Glenn in Baltimore. It's great to chat with you, man. Thank you so much for taking the time for us.
Yeah, no problem, Glenn. How are you?
Everything is good, obviously, with the Orioles figuring out a way to win the series this weekend. Everybody's happy. That's the way it works.
Well, that's fantastic. I love that. I mean, what do you think of the new City Connect on Friday?
Okay, so we talked about this last week. Admittedly, when I first saw them, I was like, I don't know, man. I think I've become very old manish about this, Ryan, and you can tell me if I'm too old manish. I love a team's uniforms. Like, I think the Orioles uniforms are classic and look awesome. So whenever they don't wear them, I don't even care what it is they're wearing. I'm almost disappointed by it. Because, like, you have this beautiful color scheme that we've associated with for our entire lives. I just want you to wear that because I think it looks great. Does that make me? Am I just an old man yelling at a cloud?
I don't think so. I think it's I mean, like there's a lot of traditionalists out there. I mean, like it's like what we've seen with the Yankees City Connect. Like they're like, no, we're just gonna keep it to the Yankees. Or when the Dodgers did theirs, they're like, we're gonna do it like this. So I don't know. I mean, I've enjoyed it. I think some teams have nailed it. Other teams haven't.
Yeah.
I certainly feel like the Padres have probably been the best at it so far.
Yeah, they've been.
I mean, like they're just fun because I think they got a sense, and they also don't have the same history that some of these older franchises have. So I don't think you're an old man, but I mean, I do think the Be More ones with the bird on the chest and the colors and kind of paying homage to Camden Yards is pretty sweet.
I think the combination of the bird and the script O, which I guess they didn't wear Friday on the hat, but like that's part of this City Connect. I think that combination is gorgeous, and they should incorporate it moving forward into everything they wear. I do really like that one a lot. All right, let's talk about the team though, Ryan. Let's get to that. Chris, we were talking about this. Chris Bassett said something over the weekend. He said, "Look, you're going through a lot injury-wise, and it got worse for the Orioles as the weekend went on with Ryan Mountcastle getting hurt, and Adley Rutschman getting hurt on top of everything they're already dealing with Jordan Westberg and Jackson Holliday and Zach Eflin, among others." And he said there's something to be said, and obviously Chris Bassett's been around a time or two. He knows a thing or two about this, about going through all of that, not playing your best baseball by any stretch of the imagination. Pete Alonso's off to a tough start, and yet still sitting at 500 or now a game over 500. What do you make of that for everything the Orioles have been through, new manager, guys struggling, not playing great ball, and yet here they are, and they're over 500 and trending in the right direction despite all of that?
Yeah, I mean, I think it points to an organization, and plus, I think in general, if you look at the American League East right now, Yankees have not been playing well lately. The Rays have been playing well. Red Sox got off to a horrendous start. Same with the Blue Jays. You want to have these tough stretches early in the year. So you want to go through this now. And when you go through it now, everything else feels better on the other side. Like once you start getting to full strength, or once it starts warming up and guys start hitting, like then you're feeling like really good. So the fact that you could weather the storm early out front with all the injuries that have been suffered and a bunch of question marks coming in, and you're still playing a game over 500, like that's a really nice feeling. And having been around Craig Albanez a little bit, he's got the right tenor for this team because he's like, there's no frills here. There's no, like, you know exactly where you stand with Craig. And that part, I think, for players is refreshing, right? Like, you want to be told straight to your face, this is why you're playing or this is why you're not playing, and here's, how you can improve. And Craig will do that. Craig will do that. So I think it's the combination of this organization has built depth finally, from a pitching staff standpoint, and overall, like even with the lack of overall production, Gunner's off to an incredible start. So, like if you have an aircraft carrier like Gunnar Henderson, you're going to be able to withstand as many injuries to people as possible.
That's a great point. He's been awesome. It seems like the World Baseball Classic has really carried over for him, and he's obviously hitting the cover off the ball. On the flip side, we talk about the struggles, Pete Alonso, and hopefully yesterday is a sign of him turning the corner. But what do you make of the struggles? There's a lot made of what he said after the game that you guys called on Friday night, and a little bit of stammering, and it felt like it was really wearing on him what he was going through. And I think that part of that is you could tell from the moment that Pete arrived that he was taking it upon himself that I need to be the guy here, right? Like, I'm getting paid like it. I need to be a leader. I need to be the guy that people are taking their cues from. That's my role. And it felt like that was wearing on him a bit. I'm not concerned deeply because I just think that this is baseball and Pete Alonso's track record is too good for me to be all that worried about it. But what do you make of what's going on with Pete early on in his first season here in Baltimore?
So I think, first off, I love that Pete is taking some responsibility and, trying to established leadership. Like from my perspective, always, and it's not just Pete Alonso. A lot of times, first-year players, first year of a contract, they always go through these struggles. They press. They want to be a part of the group. It takes time to earn the trust of your teammates. Like spring training is great, and people are like, "Oh, he's really cool," but then when you get into season and you see like a player struggle. That's where I want to see your leadership skills when you're struggling. Like you want to buy my trust in you. Let me see how you are when you struggle. Because when you're doing well, it's easy. It's easy to do anything. Like you're the toast of the town. So from a leadership perspective, if I'm a player in that clubhouse and Pete wants to be the leader, let me see what his personality is when he's struggling. So this is like a great sign for me, if I was in that clubhouse, which I'm not, to find out what kind of leader Pete Alonso is. Is he just when it's sunny out, he's good, and when it's dark out, he's bad? Because you want to be the same guy throughout. And the other part, from a physical standpoint, in some of the underlying metrics, which I think I said it on Friday night.
Yeah.
His average exit velocity is 97th percentile good. His hard hit percentile right now is 94th, is in the 94th percentile.
Didn't you say it was like the highest of his career? Do I remember that correctly?
Yeah. Yes, but his bat speed is down about 3 miles an hour, which he's been in the 90th percentile for his career, and now it's dipping down. So that could be a little bit of it. It's weird when you're sacrificing, he's making harder contact, more consistent, but the bat speed is down and the power numbers are down, right? Out the gate. Chase numbers are up for him. Whip percentage is way up for him. So it could just be a mechanical flaw with putting pressure on himself. That's a evil combination for a player.
That's interesting. It's really good perspective. Ryan Spilborghs is with us here on GCR. Ryan, I brought up Chris Bassitt. I'm just going to ask on the flip side because Chris Bassitt's off to a brutal start to the season and had another rough start on Saturday. There is perhaps a bit more concern with Bassitt because he hadn't been the same guy the last couple of years that he had been, for the 5 to 6 years leading up to that. He is getting to 37. Orioles fans remember Charlie Morton showing up at the end of his career last year and just not being able to help. Are you at all concerned about Chris Bassitt, who, ultimately the Orioles didn't go out and get a Suarez or a Valdez? This was the move that they made to bring in a pitcher. Are you at all concerned about his start and whether this just might start to be the beginning of the end for Chris Bassitt?
No, I wouldn't say that, but maybe it's time for a role change. I mean, Dean Kramer would love to be back in this rotation. And I know, just with the days off, couldn't really start the season off with a six-man rotation. I mean, last year I saw the entire postseason, and so I was, traveling with Toronto during their run, and Bassitt was excellent coming out of the bullpen as a multi-inning reliever. And I think there's real value to having a multi-inning reliever, especially if your guys are going 5 innings. So you can have a Bassitt on the backside of that, or if somebody's going 4. The thing is being a long reliever, if utilized right, is an asset. It's a weapon. It's not a demotion, right? So that's the thing is he was so good in that role, and he's a weapon that maybe you just use that weapon in a different spot versus every 5th day, if it makes sense. Only because he's had success there.
What's the time frame for when you start to have a feel for that? Because I don't think it's 3 starts. You say, all right, 3 starts. We know this guy's no good. He's got to move. But what is the time frame for when you have a sample size to say, you know what, we might have to think about something like that?
Probably 2 or 3 more starts. I mean, you want to get, just like it is with hitters, the early portion of the season is really not telling. It's almost like false because there's weather can impact people, the overall time of games shifting. It's just a weird time for a baseball player. So sometimes the numbers can be inflated. or they can be deflated. And, for pitchers specifically, sometimes the mechanics coming in out of spring training or just, like they have this little dead arm period usually in April. So the fastball isn't there, the command isn't there. So usually, that's why I always talk about runway and giving somebody pad, especially for the first 6 weeks of the season. So right in that 6-week window. So that should be 3 more starts. So that's where I'd say that's usually the governance to have an idea of, all right, we either send this guy out or, we make a change or whatever. But it's usually you got to give players at least 6 weeks, especially out of the start of the season.
What did you make? You saw Shane Baz on Friday night. Again, very small sample size, 3 starts, but to this point kind of looks like what we've known of Shane Baz, which is sometimes really good, but kind of inconsistent. And I get it. Like, some of that is just major league pitching, right? Like, not everybody's going to be the top of the rotation guy. And I have no issue with the extension the Orioles gave him because the money is so favorable that even if he's a number 4 starter, that works. But do you see the talent there that he could be more than that, even as early as this season for the Orioles?
Yeah, I really like this guy's arm, and so have other teams. This guy's been traded multiple times for big-time prospects, and what the Orioles gave up to land him, was huge. So, it's not like Mike Elias was the only evaluator that is like this guy, right? Like Eric Neander and the Pirates when they had him, they all saw the talent. So I see the talent. I just see maybe lack of command with the 4-seam. That was a little bit troubling for me.
Yeah, it was
on
bad.
Friday.
Yeah.
I'd much rather see a player try to shove a pitch down your throat than being passive and nibble. And like his knuckle curve is really good. Throws a little cutter that's pretty good. But I'd really like to just see him be dominant with his fastball because it sits at 98. And it's a short arm stroke. So it's like you could tell that hitters are not comfortable when he's getting after them. But I just don't know if this is, again, like early in the year, new team, a little bit timid, trying to do a little bit too much versus just like letting it fly. That's what I'd love to see. I'd love to see him just let it fly because I think he has, number 1, number 2 type stuff in there.
Wow. I want to get your perspective, Ryan, because we assume that your old, do we call him nephew? Your old nephew, Jackson Holliday, is going to be returning pretty soon. And Kobe Mayo defensively at third base has actually been, I think, a lot better than all of us expected. He just hasn't gotten the bat going yet. And there's questions that are kind of being asked. We've seen Blaze Alexander, who I know has cooled down a little bit after a hot start, but just given what the Orioles have, the skills that they are predominantly based around guys that hit home runs, right? Like they are a kind of natural outcome type of team. There's an argument that when Jackson comes back, you'd be well-served still having Blaze Alexander, Jeremiah Jackson, play some more third base and not just keep committing to Kobe Mayo just because their profile as a hitter offers you something different, isn't just guy that's going to hit home runs. What do you make of that? How important is it for Kobe Mayo to play regularly just so you try to get him adjusted to Major League hitting versus maybe the need to have somebody that's more inclined to get on, steal a base, move from first to third, things along those lines?
Yeah, that's a good question because first off, like I'm not a believer in Kobe Mayo yet. I'm just not. Like the swing's long for me, but it doesn't mean he can't shorten up and can't improve. So I'm just like, casual observation. I think the swing is not as short as it needs to be. But that doesn't mean it can't get shorter and shorter. Like he has power like Mark Trumbo, right? Like he's got that type of power, but he's got to be consistent with that swing. So, when it comes to Blaze Alexander or Jeremiah, and Jeremiah made some great plays. He's been a really good defender. I don't know what you do because, like, whenever Jordan does come back, he has to play. Like, Jordan has to play when he comes back.
No, there's no doubt.
Jackson obviously Jackson at second base. Which means you're going to have a problem. You're going to have
Well, and look, if Jordan comes back, and I think that's the problem, is we just have no idea when Jordan Westburg is going to be back. Because if he comes back, he fits this profile that we're talking about tremendously, right? Like he gets on, he does. The Orioles miss Jordan Westburg, I think, way more than people realize they do, because he's just not a superstar. But what he offers is different and is so good. And that's why, like, again, a little bit of me thinks that maybe you need more of that type of profile until you do get him back.
Yeah, that's not a bad idea. I mean, if you think Blaze Alexander is that guy that profiles out, and I do think Blaze Alexander is that type of player that can profile out, just because I've seen him for a bunch of years. I watched him make his major league debut and get his first hit in Arizona against the Rockies. So, and I love the personality. He's got a great personality. It's a good problem to have. So there's other teams that can't even find players to get on the field, and we're talking about multiple guys that probably deserve some play time. So I'd much rather be in that position than looking for somebody, to fill a spot.
That's a very, very fair point. Ryan Spilborghs, what can we plug for you, man?
I don't know. I got nothing much other than Loud Outs on Monday through Friday is our show on Sirius XM. So we're on 2 to 5 today. It's 1 to 4. So, anyways, we love baseball. That's all you have to plug. I love watching baseball.
And we love baseball right now because the Orioles are winning. That's the way that it works around here. Ryan Spilborghs, always appreciate you, brother. Thank you for spending time with us. Great to hear you on Friday night. Hope to do it again soon, all right?
Thank you, Glenn.
Ryan Spilborghs with us here on GCR. Yeah, I mean, that question was probably a little bit louder when Blaze Alexander was ripping the cover off the ball to start the season, and obviously he was. I think he's, 0 for his last 8, the last couple of games that he's played. So the nature of it still being a small sample size is you go from your batting average being 300 to being like 242, and all of a sudden people say, he doesn't have to be in a lineup every day. Well, he's, maybe a 2 for 4 game away from you being like, no, you got to have that guy in the lineup every day. And I don't know what the answer is. I think the answer is slightly less Kobe Mayo. I don't think it's that you're burying Kobe Mayo or you're not putting him in the lineup at all or letting him play third base. But I just think that this team, and look, Jackson Holliday is presumably not going to be a natural outcomes hitter when he gets back in the lineup, presumably. He's going to have a bit more of the profile that we're talking about. And to be fair, Taylor Ward, who we thought was going to be a natural outcomes hitter, has been anything but to start the season. Part of the problem is that some of the guys that do have this profile just aren't hitting, like Colton Cowser. Like if Colton Cowser was hitting, you might have a little bit more of it. But I think what a lot of us are seeing, and while Gunnar is capable of having this, he's obviously been a lot more power to start the season. I think what a lot of us see is you just need the different. Like, you need the different. Yesterday they hit a home run, right? And then they scored 4 more runs without hitting a home run during the course of the game. And even, like, the double from Pete Alonso wasn't a ball that was blasted. It was just a shot down the line. You need more of that. I know baseball has become natural outcomes, but you need more of that. And guys that can get an extra base. For what it's worth, I did not think Taylor Ward was going to score on Pete Alonso's double. In fact, I was watching the game with my older son, and I almost joked, all right, well, that'll get 1 run in, but there's no way Taylor Ward's scoring. And maybe if the ball had been played cleanly in left field, I don't think he would have scored. It did help that the ball was kind of misplayed a little bit in left field, and that did allow him to score there. But you could use a little bit more speed. You could use I think, a bit more of a different profile than just what Kobe Mayo brings day in and day out. And so I do think that when Jackson Holliday returns, which they're being very cagey about, aren't they?
Well, he's not playing well, right?
Well, yeah, but that part of it doesn't matter. It's not about him playing well. It's about whether or not they're hitting, or it's just about they're not making a performance-based decision. They're making a health-based decision about Jackson Holliday.
Well, they don't have any obligation to really.
No, it's not even about saying like a date. They're not. It felt like some of the reports were more encouraging about the timeline, and then some of the more recent reports have been like, well, he's still going through something.
Well, I mean, hopefully he gets through that.
I hope so, too. I do hope
he gets through
for that as well. I hope
would have been nice to see him celebrate his own bobblehead night.
Would have been neat. Good morning, John in Little Rock. Great to hear from you. The teams do the City Connect an alternate kits to make money. I have no problem with the alternate kits. They only rarely wear them. Oh, he's a soccer guy. I would like to see Charm City in script instead of Be More. They should use the official city colors that are on the official flag. I think they call it crest for the city. And are we ready for
official?
Everyone over the age of 35 to be pissed on Thursday when the Ravens announce a new kit collection or changes?
Here, do you want to see the Ravens shared a video of just the players get reactions
I
to?
Saw that. I saw
seeing the uniforms. I
can't.
Yeah,
right.
This is gonna be insane. Are they gonna do it? Are they gonna drop it during our show Thursday?
No, they're doing it.
We have to stop
They're
it?
doing an event Thursday night at Merriweather, and they're unveiling them.
Should we go and
I'm good.
broadcast?
I'm good
from the show.
I don't think that we are gonna get that invite.
Well, I mean, we're trying to get some good faith here, right?
I don't. Oh, so offer we'll just. I don't think that's the way it's gonna work.
I mean, just look at how surprised Zay Flowers is.
It's a great point. He's very surprised. He's astonished, and man. I said this last week. I'm going to say the same thing, and you could say it's because I'm an old man.
Look at that! Wow.
Yeah, look at that. Whoa, boy. Oh, buddy. They're all very fired up. I said this last week. When the Green Bay Packers wear anything other than the Green Bay Packers uniforms, we all say the exact same thing. What in the ever-loving F are you doing? And I get it. The City Connect isn't the Orioles' idea. It's baseball's thing because baseball wants to make more money. And if people are into them, I never want to be the I'm going to yuck your yum. If you're into it, that's awesome. I'm happy for you. But if the Chicago Bears wear different uniforms, we say gross. And while the Ravens, as I pointed out, don't have the history of some of those franchises, and even in their short history haven't worn the exact same thing the entire time because they had to change the logo, they had to change that shield, it's a great look. And every time you do anything other than that, look, I mean, we'll see these uniforms on Thursday night, and there's some hullabaloo on the internet about the fact that you can get the Ravens gear from last year at extraordinarily discounted prices right now, which to me suggests
where?
Yeah, I don't remember. It might be NFL Shop, actually. It suggests to me that these changes are significant enough that they know they can't charge legit prices for last year's gear anymore because significant changes are coming. We'll see. It might very well be that I look at these things on Thursday and I say, all right, whatever. It's basically the same deal. I don't care. But I'm just never going to be someone that, unless you have gross-looking uniforms, unless, I have said for a long time, it took me a while to come on to the typography changes for the Maryland logo, right? Like, I did not, when they first brought them out, everybody else was freaking out about how much of the state flag was on. I was like, that's the best thing about these uniforms. Put nothing but state flag. Let's just do that. But I did not like the font change. It took me a little while. Ultimately, I've grown. Now, it's been at this point, 15 years? Something like that. I grew to say, okay, this is the font. I'm used to it. This is just what it is. The Orioles, I feel much more strongly about. The Orioles have a classic baseball look that you have associated with for forever. Their biggest mistake was taking Baltimore off the road jerseys, and they fixed it. I just want that because we love it. It's something we love. Why not give us more of it? This is fine. And again, if you're just like, hey, it's cool every now and then to see something else, okay, you're getting that. Cool. I care about one thing, as everybody knows. I already heard from people on Friday night who are like, when are you going to say it's time to burn the jerseys? Because as we know, I only care about, are you winning? They wear these things 5 times and lose all 5 games. Burn them. Don't mess with it. Burn them. It might be 3. If they're 0-3, I might start feeling that way.
All the people that bought the jerseys.
Sorry. Stop it. Stop it. You don't wear when you're winning, or win if you don't win when you're wearing. Not if you don't wear when you're winning. If you don't win when you're wearing these things.
Right. Got it.
You don't wear them. It's really not that hard. But, you know, the little, I love the combination of the bird and the script O. That's gorgeous. Do that. Incorporate that with the regular colors. Incorporate that with what you do moving forward. That is a chef's kiss combination. The other stuff, the green, I understand it. It's a nod to Camden Yards. It's a nod to the history of Baltimore baseball. All good. It's just not, to me, an Orioles color. And so it's not for me. And then there was a lot of debate last week about Be More versus Charm City. I actually had this conversation on a TJ show on WBAL on Friday. I don't think we actually say any of these things in general conversation.
They should just make it say Balmer, right? Like that.
Yeah, I mean, or somebody who texted in on Friday suggested, like, write it out with a D instead of the T because that's the way that we pronounce it, right? We don't pronounce Balt. But, like, we don't actually type that. We don't actually, you know, we wouldn't want to see it that way. It's just the way that we say it.
It's the way it's pronounced.
And Balmer maybe could be a thing. I'm torn. I asked a lot of people. There are more people that suggest they use Be More in conversation than I would have thought there were. I realized I don't say it at all. But I did, as a couple of my friends pointed out. I definitely did when I was in my teenage years and maybe into my early 20s. But I haven't said Be More in conversation in forever. But I also think we're just overanalyzing everything for the sake of overanalyzing it. It looks fine. It's fine. I just would rather they wear Orioles colors. That's what I want when I go see the Orioles play. And that's all I got. That's all I got for it. Win.
What? That's
win.
it?
That's win. Like, that's win. That's all I care about. Win. Could wear the God, remember the Steelers put on those effing Bumblebee uniforms?
Yeah, those were pretty good, huh?
Like, dude, first of all, I don't feel like the Steelers, it's not even unique to that we don't like Pittsburgh. It's that they wear, their primary color looks like urine. Like, it's really hard for me to overcome that.
Not if you're hydrated. Then.
It's great. Actually, I think it looks more like fairly hydrated. You know what? No, you're right. It's probably yellow. Yeah, it's probably. I don't think it's a great color combination, but in Pittsburgh, they are it's what all of their teams wear. That is their color combination. And it's a historic football color combination. And so people have an association with those uniforms and those jerseys, and then they come out and they wear anything else, and it's just, you look like idiots. Now, this was uniquely awful, obviously. This is one of the worst uniforms that's been worn in modern history of sport. I mean, God, I cannot believe that anyone got on board with that. Yeah, there was some pretty bad color rush. Like, the whole color rush concept was kind of dumb.
Why did the Eagles do these? I remember wearing these in Madden and be like, these are so bad.
I mean, it's something about the history of at some point they wore it. I don't know. Anyway, we're spending. I hate it when we get on.
These are your favorites?
Oh yeah, the Packers. Imagine you're the Packers, and you chose to wear that.
Here's the Bears ones.
God, what is wrong? All right, when we come back in. Speaking of classics, the legendary Darryl Strawberry is going to join us next. Much to discuss with a baseball icon next here on GCR. Aha.
This is Stan the Fan. You know we talk all the time about our O's stepping up in the big moments, delivering when it matters most. If you've been injured in a car accident anywhere around Baltimore, that's your big moment, and you need someone who delivers. That's why I'm here to tell you about Warnken Injury Lawyers. They fight for Baltimore families every single day. Insurance companies play games. Warnken plays to win. So call 443-RESULTS. That's 443-RESULTS, or go to warnkenlaw.com. When you need results, it's right there in the number, 443-RESULTS.
Your car is more than just a ride. It's an investment. At Leading Edge Auto Body in Mount Washington, we've spent over 20 years perfecting the art of repair. From high-end imports to your trusted daily driver, we handle all makes and models with elite precision. Our team holds the highest honors in the industry, including ASE Master, iCar Platinum, and specialized aluminum certifications. We make it easy with free towing, pickup, and delivery, because at Leading Edge, customer satisfaction comes first. And remember, with insurance, it's your car and it's your choice. Choose the experts. Leading Edge Auto Body. Quality you can see. Service you can trust. Go to leadingedgeautobody.com today.
The weather's getting cooler, so when you and your family are picking out a place to dine, be it lunch or dinner, let's make it nice and easy. Now, with 2 great locations, the Costas Inn remains your #1 destination. Whether you want to get steamed crabs and the full Costas menu out at the original location at 4100 North Point Boulevard, or sample the complete menu minus the steamed crabs at the new location above the grandstand at the Timonium Racetrack, Costas is your place to go. Check out the website, CostasInn.com, for a look at the menu, and if you want to plan that crab feast, call 410-477-1975. The Costas Inn.
Gambling can be a fun and entertaining experience, but there are risks involved. If you're planning on betting on the game at the casino or on your phone or computer, know your limit, stay within it. Set a budget and a time to stop. Remember, gambling isn't a financial solution, and it doesn't mix well with alcohol or drugs. Know the risks and have a plan before you begin gambling. For free and confidential services, call 1-800-GAMBLER 24/7 or go to helpmygamblingproblem.org.
The latest edition of PressBox is available now. On the cover, Dave Ginsburg chats with Hall of Famer Cal Ripken Jr. about his life now at the age of 65, his role with the Orioles ownership group, and much more. Also inside, Bill Ordine helps us learn more about new Ravens head coach Jesse Minter. Luke Jackson finds out about new Orioles slugger Pete Alonso from those who have played with him, and we meet college lacrosse players from programs all across the area. PressBox is available for free at over 250 locations throughout the region, including your Baltimore area High's Dairy stores. Plus, you can read the entire issue online at PressBoxOnline.com, where you can also find great betting advice and the best daily coverage of the Orioles, Ravens, and Terps.
Contrary to what some people believe, I actually like this guy when he sleeps. Glenn Clark, talking sports.
All right, back in here on GCR as continue along on a Monday edition of the program. CountySports.zone is where you can turn to find out everything about high school sports here in the spring season in the state of Maryland. Scores, schedules, rankings, news updates. Every team, every sport, every school, every level, every day.
Every single one?
I was trying to think of another every, and I'm out of everys. CountySports.zone. Proudly
every
sponsored.
county?
Yeah, every county. Proudly sponsored by your local Toyota dealer and buyatoyota.com. Had to do this a little bit earlier on, but a pleasure to spend some time chatting with the great Darryl Strawberry right here on GCR. Well, our next guest, of course, is a baseball legend, but he's also an ordained minister and someone who travels around the country speaking. My father saw him speak recently at Mountain Christian Church right here in Harford County. He is the great Darryl Strawberry, and he is with us this morning here on GCR. Darryl, it's Glenn. Thank you for taking the time for us. It's great to see you, man.
Thanks for having me, Glenn. It's good to be with you, man. I'm glad your father got a chance to hear me speak up there. So, of course, you know, that introduction is pretty cool, you know, a baseball player. I think a lot of times people think I forget about baseball. It's just that I love baseball, I always will, you know. It's just that I'm not around it like most people think I should be. It's because I got a higher calling up on my life and, you know, really just became a different person and really experienced a lot of different things and helping a lot of people. And that's really cool to do.
I know that obviously was at the center of your book, Another Life, which is available now, and we're going to link it up on our Twitter account at Glenn Clark Radio. But, Darryl, I have to, because we're a sports show, I have to talk to you a little bit about some of the baseball stuff in there, in particular because I did not know the extent of your relationship with Davey Johnson. I was not aware of how personal it was, how deep it was. Obviously, I knew he was your manager, but I did not know all of the details of it. He's, of course, an Orioles legend. Can you share with our audience how important Davey Johnson was to you, why it went beyond just maybe your typical player-manager relationship?
Well, Davey Johnson was a very special person, more than just a manager. I mean, loved and cared about his players. He cared about the development of his players, and he just let us be players. You know why? Because he was a player and he played the game, and he had a clear understanding how hard it is to go out there and play and be successful. I think sometimes, guys get in those positions and they don't understand how to make a team work. Davey Johnson came in and he made us work together. He put us together, put the pieces together. And not only that, he was just like a father figure, to you, to not just to me, but to all. But he was very special to me because he just allowed me to be me. And when he had to challenge me, he would. When he had to discipline me, he did it. And that's what I loved about Davey. He didn't let anybody just get away with everything. A lot of times players push back because they're veteran players. And, Davey always looked at me as you're the star over here. You don't have to act like you're not. You don't have to act. You don't have to play behind anybody else. He says, you are the young man that, the organization brought up and developed, and you're a homegrown and player, and you're that player. You're that guy. We need you every day. We need you to go out there and be you. So that's what really made it special to me. And, I got a chance to see him before he passed away. I went by his house and visited him, and it was just a real emotional moment for us, to spend that time together and just talk about life, just talk about everything that we had been through together. And my thing was to him is, why is Davey Johnson not in the Hall of Fame as a manager? That was my big question too. I mean, he was so great with so many different teams, and I think they just overlooked him. Baseball just overlooked him as what he had done for, so many different organizations and teams. And of course, we were the champions in '86, and we went to, 2 playoffs because you had to win the division back then, and we lost in '88 to the Dodgers. But if it had not been for Davey, we wouldn't have never been the Mets. When I came there, we were the Mutts, and Davey came over and took over, and we became the Mets. And he's the winningest manager for the New York Mets in history, and the great success he's had for so many other teams is just incredible. And people didn't recognize it, and it breaks your heart, And that's why he is the person he is today in my heart. Of course, I went to his funeral and I spoke at it, and it was really special. His wife, Susan, would ask me to do that for him because she said, Davey loved you, and he loved you so much. And he always talked about you as a special person.
You bring up the Mutts to the Mets, but the modern history of the Orioles is not so great other than we think about 96 and 97. And, of course, you told a story in the book that I did not know about at all, about you being with the Yankees and beating him. We still don't like to talk about it around here in Baltimore, Darryl. It wasn't a pleasant time, and we still think about that punk kid in right field, but we'll move on from it. But Davey actually coming and greeting you afterwards, which was really powerful.
It's incredible. I mean, that's just who he was. That's the friendship. That's the bond that we had developed. I played for him for all those years over there in Queens. And he taught me so much. Him and Coach Bill Robinson and Buddy Harrelson, they were just wonderful people. And yes, when we won that series, he came over and he just gave me a big hug and he just said, congratulations. And he said, you're special to me. You always will be special. It wasn't about the fact that I was playing on the Yankees. It was about the fact that I was someone that would in his life for real. I wasn't just a player that just came around, and I think a lot of times players come and go and managers come and go. But, when you have relationships with people like that, those are very special relationships. And I was forever grateful for that because, I was coming back and, no other team wanted me and the Yankees did. And Davey looked at me and he kind of saw me play. He knew in big situations that I was going to come through because I did it for him for so many times, and he just kind of used to shake his head when I see him in the dugout over there after I hit a home run. He was like shaking his head to like, I've had this guy. I know what kind of player this guy is.
Yeah. Thanks for the reminders, Straw. Thanks for the reminders. We really appreciate it. Totally over it and not thinking about it at all around here. Darryl Strawberry is with us. The book is Another Life. Do we say Pastor Straw now? Is that the appropriate way? Like, what's
No. I just call myself Darryl Strawberry.
All
You know,
right.
I don't. You know, I'm a true evangelist. I travel the nation 270 times out of the year. But no, I don't really put a title as a pastor on me.
Okay.
I put myself as someone that's been called by God, and I finally answered the call. And it's not because of me; it's because of my mother. Her prayers behind the scenes, praying for me when I was playing Major League Baseball and living such a heathen lifestyle, and you know, womanizer, alcoholic, drug addict. She was praying that God would intervene and step in and stop me. And at some point, He did. After it was all over, He would stop me in my tracks, and He would call me to ministry. And I thought for sure, you know, you definitely got the wrong guy. Don't you know what I've been through?
I'm literally Darryl Strawberry. There's been an awful lot about me in the papers over the years.
Yes, and everybody's pointed their fingers at me and said things, and He goes, "You're the perfect example. You're the person that I want to use because you have been through it, and I can take your mess of what you had in your life and bring it into a message to help so many other people." And I think that's what is so great about, you know, the Lord. He does not look at us like people look at us. He looks at us totally different. And that's what happened to me. And my life became transformed. I didn't go to school or anything. He called me right from where I was at, and He transformed me and sat me for 7 years in church to go through discipleship and be disciplined and learn the word. And, you know, through my wife, and my beautiful wife is just amazing. She was so patient with me to let me go through the process because she was already there, and we came together. And it's just a beautiful thing when you do that, and you let the Lord be the leader over your life, and then you go into His plan and go out there and help the multitude of people and care for people and love people.
Darryl, is there like a moment that for you look back upon and said, maybe I had to experience this darkness in order to find this light in my life?
I try to tell everybody you don't have to experience it. I was just hard-headed. And I try to tell people that you if God is reaching out for you and calling you for something, do it. Because if you don't, you're going to go through all the dark moments of life because you're going to pick your own ways of doing things. Glenn, I always tell people this: you can pick your sins, but you cannot pick your consequences. You know, consequences are the reality of what you pick. And most people don't realize that. I realized that today because I picked a lot of them, and I had major consequences behind it. And once I got to the place of surrendering to Him for His will, I became a different person. Now the transformation can take place, but you have to surrender. You can't straddle the fence. You know, a lot of people talk about it and a lot of people speak about it, but it's not how you talk. It's the action of the way you live. It's how you go about your business of living a different life. And for over 20 plus years now, I've just been living this way. It's been the joy of my life to live such a freedom and with great peace and understanding, clarity, and being able to go back and help people. You know, so many of us that has these high platforms, God will really want to use us to help people, and so many are not. So many of us is just taking these platforms and we're using them for ourselves, and we're like, you see the guys on all these podcasts and different stuff I look at, and they're all bashing each other, and it's like, what are you doing here? You know, you got a moment in time to live here. You're not going to be here forever. What kind of legacy are you going to leave? And that's what I really thought about. The legacy that is important to me as my family, as my wife and my children and my grandchildren and my outside friends that I have in my life that are good around me. That's what's important at the end of the day, because the day going to come. You know, I just look at Phil Gardner passed away, you know,
Yeah.
you know, another great baseball player, manager. You know, you don't stay here, and I think people don't really realize that they're going to come, and will you be prepared for that?
Darryl, I think you probably are aware that in Baltimore there are a lot of folks that were worked up when they heard what you had said about Pete Alonso before the season. I know that you kind of clarified that immediately afterwards, but I'll tell you, I think I understood more of what you were trying to say after reading the book, because it felt like it was less about Pete and Baltimore and more about your own regret and what you dealt with in your career. Can you walk people through like how the pain that you felt having left the Mets and why that maybe you were thinking about that as you were thinking about Pete Alonso.
Yes, people don't never understand it. A writer just writes something just to write it to get a story. And I was talking about the fact that what it was like for me to leave to go to LA, and it had nothing to do with plan, the plan for the Dodgers and the people. It had to do with me, my decision. Where I was at for 8 years, and I had that great success, and I was used to it one way and playing in a different style, and now you go to a different place. It has nothing to do with Baltimore, it has nothing to do with the organization. It has to do with what Pete accomplished over in Queens. It was big. He was on his way to, I was basically trying to explain, I explained it to the writer that he was on his way to breaking all the records in Mets players' history. And that's something big. You can never get that back now because you decided, it was time to move. And that's his decision, just like it was my decision. And what happens? Did I walk away and end up with a belly full of regrets? At some point, I did. And that's what I was trying to explain to the writer that most people didn't catch. He's going to end up probably thinking he could have had the top numbers of all time in the history of the franchise. And when you look at that, he's not going to have that with the Baltimore organization. Yes, he's going to be great over there, and he's going to play well. Hopefully he plays well and do great things over there. And I think that's what people don't understand about baseball. It's not about any city, or it's not about a team. It's about a player. It's about a player legacy and what kind of legacy he could have left for himself in Queens, but he won't be able to do that now because that's over.
Obviously, he got the home run record, but to your point, he might have gone down as the greatest Met of all time, right? Like that was very possible had he stayed there for years. Darryl, Pete got off to a slow start here in Baltimore, and I wondered, as someone who had been through that before, like, is there a pressure maybe that you don't experience until the first time you're somewhere else, and everybody thinks of you as this larger-than-life figure, this conquering hero, the way that we treated Pete Alonso, the way I have no doubt in L.A. they treated you? Is there a pressure that maybe is different for as great as Pete Alonso is that he might not have been used to coming into Baltimore more, and that might have led to him maybe getting off to a little bit of a slow start?
It's not anything new. We all do it. When you become a free agent, you go somewhere and you start off slow, and everybody think, wow, well, did we make a mistake, just because of a slow start? It's a new place. It's a new atmosphere. What most people have to understand, he's in the American League now. He's not in the National League. If it was the National League, he knows the National League well. He does not know the American League well, even though you played in interleague and all that kind of baseball stuff that they do these days. But he has to settle in and get adjusted to just a whole new team, a whole new atmosphere, a whole new city. It's part of it. I went through it when I played in LA my first year. I ran into the wall and dislocated my shoulder, and I missed about 7 to 8 weeks. And I was like, I was never hurt like this missing the beginning of the season. So I had to come back at some point in that season. And when I came back, I just lit it up. I was on fire because I'm a baseball player. At some point, hopefully that will happen for him. It's a new beginning and a new place. And he's going to have some ups and downs right now. But he's a baseball player, and he knows how to figure it out. He's done it a long time. And hopefully he gets it going soon. I love Pete. Pete was a great guy. Me and him had a great relationship. I don't care what anybody says. I don't care what kind of writer want to say. I said this. Pete know that's not me. He know the writer just as well as I know the writers in New York. They love to stir up stuff.
Did they ever write about you? Did they ever write about you and Doc ever?
Yeah, they write about everybody. It's just who they are. Yeah, and they don't really care. They look for headlines. And I wish Pete nothing but the best, and I wish him and his family all the best. And, that's the decision he made for himself. That's the right decision he made for himself to come to Baltimore and play. And I just know once he get going in that little ballpark, the way he hit the ball, eventually he's gonna tear it up.
Yeah, we're looking forward to him hitting hundreds of home runs in Baltimore, obviously. Darryl, we got to know you a little bit years ago when DJ, of course, was playing at the University of Maryland, and it was awesome to have you at the games. But I think it was also really compelling in reading the book, and I know it wasn't a deep part of it, but talking about where you were in your life then and how your life has changed. And, sort of recognizing the man that you were and that you needed to be for DJ and the family sort of atmosphere that you have now. Can you share just a little bit about that with us? And I have no doubt the pride that you have in DJ, who I actually got to follow. Ironically, Darryl, I was here at Maryland covering Maryland, and then I shipped off to Phoenix and took a radio job in Phoenix right at the moment that DJ got drafted by the Suns. So it was cool for me to know somebody out in Phoenix the moment that I showed up.
Well, I'm extremely proud of DJ. He's accomplished a lot in his career playing in Maryland, playing for Gary Williams. I think Gary was the right kind of coach for him, brought a lot of discipline and understanding of the game. And he had a lot of fun playing there. And he just went on to have, a career overseas and be successful. He lives in Spain. He has a family and kids, and he's married, and he's doing well. And and I think about the parts of life, where I was at the time and the struggle I was in. I affected my kids in such a way, and which really hurted me. But I was able to redeem myself and rebuild my relationship with all my kids and have such a wonderful family. We got a blended family. We have 9 kids together, me and my wife, Tracy. She's got 3 and I got 6. And we have a blended family, and all the kids are great. They all love each other. They're close. And it's just really cool to see and to be the example of the father that I am now, and him to watch me. He's watching me as a man of faith, and it's just completely blowing him away and all my kids away because I'm so different. And my life is not about me. My life is about them. Because I remember the statement my mother said, it's not important to be important. Okay. She gave me that. So that's what I live off today. It's not important. I'm not one of these athletes running around here with the uniform on, still celebrating myself. I'm celebrating my children, my grandchildren, my wife, and my work that I'm been called to do. It's more important than any trophy and any ring. Yes, I've had great success and played in a lot of great games and done a lot of great things. I'll never forget that. That was the platform that was given to me to walk in the doors that I get to walk in and write books like Today, Another Life. Living another life is clearly the life that I always expected to live from the start, but I just didn't, because I didn't have a male figure in my life to guide me and help me and show me navigate through this the system we call. And what we live in today, it's just completely gone chaotic. And I don't want my kids to ever experience that. I'm glad they didn't have to play at the professional level like I did, here in the States or anything. They went overseas, both of my boys, Jordan too, and DJ. But I'm glad they didn't have to play in this lifestyle of NBA and travel and get caught up into all the things in the trap holes that's in there. And they've been able to go on and be wonderful kids. And I'm blessed. I'm blessed that they never had to go through the struggles. My struggles, I sat in front of them and told them, you do not want to go through this type of life. It's hard. It's difficult. Make the right choices, because if you don't, you have to pay a price for it. And I was a father to be able to give that to my kids, and that's what I'm really grateful for.
Again, the book is called Another Life, and it is available right now, and we did link it up on our Twitter account at Glenn Clark Radio for you to check it out. It's a beautiful story, and there's no doubt there's somebody right now who's going through it and who thinks they're in their darkest moment, and I have no doubt that it's going to be powerful for them to read your words and to hear your message of hope, and it's a truly beautiful thing, man. Darryl, so happy for that life that you have found, and that happiness and that peace that has come for you at this point of your life, and we will, at least for now, forgive you for what happened in 1996, although I'm very much never going to truly be over it. Darryl,
well, thank you, Glenn. Thank you, Glenn, for that. And this happiness, I just want people to know, and this freedom, it's there for everybody. It's not just for me. It's there for everybody. God has it for everybody. His grace is sufficient for everybody. And if you just accept the principles and accept following his way of life, it's different. It's not like what we're living in the flesh. We're fleshly bodies, and we live in it and we react to everything. But he's not. He's spirit, and he's truth, and he's holy, and he teaches you how to operate and teach you how to live and teaches you what's important in this life.
Darryl, thank you for taking the time for us. A continued success and health and happiness to you and your family. Appreciate you doing this, man.
Thank you for having me, Glenn. I appreciate you, brother.
It's Darryl Strawberry. Darryl, obviously, his mission in life is now religion and his faith and what it is they has to say. But Darryl Strawberry's story is it's incredible. And however you feel about religion and faith, there is no doubt that it is kind of a miracle that Darryl Strawberry is in this place in his life after where he's been. And very powerful stories about Davy Johnson, making the argument for Davy Johnson as a baseball Hall of Famer. I think a lot of us around here would be on board. And did appreciate, there was a lot of noise in spring training about something Darryl had said related to, he was going to regret, Pete Alonso was going to regret it. But I do appreciate what he's saying is this isn't a shot at Baltimore. This is, I'm telling you that in hindsight, I wish I would have stayed with that franchise. I wish I would have been there. And I would have been able to continue to make history. It is crazy to me that Darryl Strawberry still held until last year the Mets' all-time home run record. How many home runs do you think Darryl Strawberry hit as a Met, Griffin?
Well, because I know how many Pete did. I think it was like around 250, right?
Yeah, it was like 248, something like that,
yeah.
right?
It's
but
yeah,
nuts.
it's not
a huge number,
no,
right?
Not.
And so to the point, it's not as if there haven't been great players in Mets history. There have been. Tom Seaver is a baseball icon, but it is wild that it's not like the Orioles. It's not like there's Seaver and then there's, it's not like there's Brooks and then there's Eddie and Cal and Palmer and Frank, and obviously the Orioles have been missing. They haven't been adding to that group in recent years. But like there's Seaver, and then there's guys that either weren't Hall of Famers or were only in New York for a little bit. And I know that Frank, sometimes we make it seem like Frank was in Baltimore longer than he was, but it was just so goddamn impactful the time that he was in Baltimore that makes up for it. But like Nolan Ryan, it was only a little bit. And Mike Piazza, I still associate Piazza more as a Dodger than I do as a Met. I know the post 9/11 stuff kind of, I think, added to his lore in New York, but personally, I still think of him more as a Dodger than I do a Met. And guys like David Wright. David Wright was a hell of a baseball player, but he's not a Hall of Famer. He's not of that category. Keith Hernandez, hell of a baseball player, not a Hall of Famer. It is kind of wild to me. And so the point is that Pete Alonso, 5 more incredibly productive years in New York, there was a real chance that he was going to go down as, one of, if not the greatest Met ever, at least among hitters. Like Tom Seaver is Tom Seaver. And I get it. Now, it's more complicated than that because the Mets didn't aggressively really try to keep Pete Alonso. They presumably could have offered what the Orioles would have offered, and almost certainly Pete Alonso would still be a Met. They made a calculated decision, one that we hope they're wrong about. But I can understand what Darryl Strawberry is saying, and I also appreciate the context that he's adding to the struggles. Pete Alonso shows up in Baltimore and is pressing maybe in a way that he never pressed in New York, because he's now being judged against being the savior. He doesn't have the sweat equity built up in Baltimore that if he gets, if he has a tough week or so, well, I'm still beloved. Now, it's perhaps pressing because, well, I have to deliver in this way. I have to do this to show all of them that I'm worth the money that I was paid and that I'm that guy. I am not personally panicked about Pete Alonso. I think he's going to be just fine. But the struggles have been real to start the season. Appreciate that. Good stuff from Darryl Strawberry. We'll come back. Oh, hello. We'll come back in. We'll get a tidbit.
Hi.
Right? We'll get tubular. And we will wind things down. for a...
We got to go 3 up and 3 down.
Oh, right. We got to do 3 up and 3 down. Yeah, we'll do that, too. That's all coming up on a Monday edition of GCR. Your car is more than just a ride. It's an investment. At Leading Edge Auto Body in Mount Washington, we've spent over 20 years perfecting the art of repair. From high-end imports to your trusted daily driver, we handle all makes and models with elite precision. Our team holds the highest honors in the industry, including ASE Master, iCar Platinum, and specialized aluminum certifications. We make it easy with free towing, pickup, and delivery, because at Leading Edge, customer satisfaction comes first. And remember, with insurance, it's your car and it's your choice. Choose the experts. Leading Edge Auto Body. Quality you can see. Service you can trust. Go to leadingedgeautobody.com today.
The weather's getting cooler, so when you and your family are picking out a place to dine, be it lunch or dinner, let's make it nice and easy. Now, with 2 great locations, the Costas Inn remains your #1 destination. Whether you want to get steamed crabs and the full Costas menu out at the original location at 4100 North Point Boulevard, or sample the complete menu minus the steamed crabs at the new location above the grandstand at the Timonium Racetrack, Costas is your place to go. Check out the website, CostasInn.com, for a look at the menu, and if you want to plan that crab feast, call 410-477-1975. The Costas Inn.
Gambling can be a fun and entertaining experience, but there are risks involved. If you're planning on betting on the game at the casino or on your phone or computer, know your limit, stay within it. Set a budget and a time to stop. Remember, gambling isn't a financial solution, and it doesn't mix well with alcohol or drugs. Know the risks and have a plan before you begin gambling. For free and confidential services, call 1-800-GAMBLER 24/7 or go to helpmygamblingproblem.org.
This is Byron Warnken. If you've been injured in Maryland, you know you need a great lawyer. Look no further than us, Warnken LLC. You've seen my picture on billboards around town. You've seen me on TV. Now I'm lucky enough to get to be here with Stan. Please give us a call. 443-RESULTS. It is not just a phone number, it's a mission. 443-RESULTS. Or visit us online at warnkenlaw.com. That's WARNKENLAW.com.
Make the most out of every day in your Toyota RAV4. Available in hybrid or gas-only models. A RAV4 can get you where you want to go in style. Check out buyatoyota.com for deals on new RAV4s from your local Toyota dealer today.
Coming back in here with Glenn and the other guy, Garrett, whatever his name is. You know who they are.
All right, well, it's time, Griffin. We've been waiting for it all show long, but go ahead and hit the music. It's time to recap the Masters.
I don't have it ready. Gosh, you really set me up for something else up there.
Wait, you don't have it.
I don't have the Augusta music? No.
All right, well, it's time to recap the Masters. Ready? Here we go. Rory McIlroy won the Masters.
Yeah, good for him, right?
And that was recapping the Masters here on Glenn Clark Radio.
You know, let's talk about how... I'm trying to think. I don't mean, it's not like
name something else.
Well, Scotty made a run.
Okay.
And didn't win.
Yes.
Who's the guy that he was good? Cam Young. Had a good weekend.
Also didn't win. Yes.
No. Yeah, but
we can name all the guys that didn't win if you want. Arnold Palmer didn't win.
Yeah, Rose didn't
He's
win.
no longer with us. Justin Rose didn't win.
Johnson didn't win.
And any of them.
Clark didn't win.
Yep, you're right. Robert McIntyre with his temperament came up a little bit short.
Did he make the cut?
I don't believe so. It is crazy that Rory McIlroy couldn't win the Masters, couldn't do it, and then now he's just going to win all of the Masters. It is kind of cool, I guess, if you're a Rory McIlroy fan. I got to be honest, last year I was swept up in it, right? It was awesome.
Now you're pissed at Rory like everyone else?
Why would we be pissed at Rory?
I don't know. People are mad.
What are they mad about?
I don't know. I don't follow golf, but I saw someone was
Are
mad
people
at Rory.
mad at Rory McIlroy?
Yeah.
About what?
They think he's a douchebag or something.
What did he do?
I don't know.
Did he do something?
Maybe
Is
they're
he a
mad.
douchebag?
Maybe they're mad because he's so good at golf. I don't really
I
know.
feel
I
like
don't follow golf, but I
there was
saw
this-
people were mad
there
at
was
Rory.
this
Maybe it was a
weird-
bit. I don't know.
There was this weird.
They were like, "Oh, this asshole gets to golf at Augusta whenever he wants." Of course, he won.
Oh,
second
that was
in
what
a
they.
row.
So
was
he
that a
came
bit?
out last week and said,
Right? Yeah, he
didn't play any of the tournaments leading up to the Masters, and instead just got on his private plane and flew to Augusta every day, and played Augusta more frequently. What? Okay. Here's my suggestion to everybody else. Win the Masters.
Well,
then maybe you can do the same.
You can't because Rory keeps winning them.
That's too bad for you. I don't know what to tell you. I mean, he had a 6-shot lead after 2 rounds.
Right, he did blow it.
Tried to let everybody else back into the tournament, and none of them wanted it. So that's what it is. I last year very much swept them in it. This year, just not that compelling to me. Like, Rory McIlroy won the Masters. Winning the Masters in back-to-back years seems like it's a difficult thing to do. Not a lot of people do it. Okay, now let's move on. Time for us to do that. I wish I had more. You want to talk about Tyler Tejada's going to Cincinnati.
Yeah,
Griffin's
I don't want to talk about that.
Griffin's despondent. Griffin, who kind of looks
now?
A little bit like Tyler Tejada. Just a small bit.
I let my hair really grow out.
A little bit like Tyler Tejada. He's very upset.
We play same style of ball, too, yeah. Yeah. We both are, I can make a shot from pretty much anywhere on the court.
Sticking with that?
No one, I'm almost unguardable. I can guard just about anybody.
We sticking with it? Yeah. I don't know. All right, let's do 3 up and 3 down.
Three up
and 3 down.
Just gonna ride it out, huh?
It might be the
tweet
perfect.
through it, huh?
Might be the perfect.
sort of like
opening.
Last week, Diana Rossini just sent a tweet about like the officials. Like, nothing's going on. What are you guys talking about?
She's got a job to do, right?
Not anymore, or not for now, at least.
What is she like? Actually in trouble?
Suspended.
Oh, she has.
I think they paused her work while they investigate.
What's there to investigate? Didn't somebody already do that?
A lot of questions. All right. That's what it is. The 3 up and 3 down is brought to you by the print issue of Pressbox. This is like the last day. If you haven't gotten the Cal Ripken issue, get it now, because this week, a new print issue looking at the future of the Preakness. Bill Ordine doing this month's cover story about Preakness at Laurel this year, but really about the future of the Preakness moving forward and what the new Pimlico will look like. So looking forward to that. That'll be on newsstands this week. If it's not there, I think it'll be out by Wednesday. If it's not there, just give it time. Stan does a lot of that personally, literally does a lot of it personally. So give it a little bit of time. But this week, brand new print issue of Pressbox will be hitting newsstands. And yeah, John, I agree. I thought Darryl was great. Whatever your feelings are about religion, I think you could find power in what it was that Darryl was talking about. So I greatly appreciate him taking the time. Let's do it. 3 up and 3 down. Last week it was difficult to come up with the up. This week maybe a little bit more difficult to limit how many guys. In fact, there were 2 that I felt terrible about having to leave off my list because I love recognizing relievers, and I just couldn't squeeze in either Rico or Anthony Nunez, who were both phenomenal this week. They were awesome, but I just didn't have room.
Clearly don't love him the way you say you do.
Is that what you think?
Yeah.
That's what you think, huh? So number 3 on my up list, look, Cade Povich was wonderful, but it's beyond just the fact that he was wonderful. It's that he was wonderful in a spot where the Orioles needed someone to go shove. And it wasn't Bassett, and it wasn't Boz, and now you got to turn to Kramer, and who knows what you're getting, as he hasn't really been all that good to start the season at AAA.
I feel like they've been limiting him.
Yeah, they have. That's true. Yeah. But they needed somebody to shove, and he went out and was effing brilliant, man, and looked incredibly confident. And I don't want to read too much into one start because it's easy to say that looks like a guy that needs to be in the rotation. I want to be careful about that. We have seen moments from Cade Povich before. We have not seen consistency, so I'm not sure what to make of it other than in a time where the Orioles really needed it, with a lot going wrong health-wise to their lineup. Cade Povich friggin' delivered, man. That was spectacular. He was number 3.
Yeah, he was my number 3 as well. I mean, it feels like it could definitely be some type of revelation for this team if he suddenly whatever they changed, whatever he worked on in the offseason, if it is going to yield stuff like this. I mean, he went almost 6 innings in relief in kind of a spot, and I guess that's kind of where you're
no,
trying to hedge yourself.
That wasn't this week. That doesn't count for 3 up and 3 down.
I know. I'm trying to talk about. I'm talking about it. I'm talking about it this sum of a whole, though.
I know,
yeah.
I know.
And how so maybe that was part of it. Like, just kind of got thrown into it, didn't have a whole lot to think about. The Pirates certainly probably weren't expecting to see him. But he looked great last week, looked probably even better yesterday. So Cade Povich
awesome.
is my number 3 too.
Gunnar Henderson, my number 2. Clearly, really hard to ignore that he hit 4 home runs this week. And, it wasn't like that was it. It wasn't 4 home runs or nothing. He hit, I think, 280 for the week. Gunnar Henderson was number 2.
That's why I had him number 1 because, I don't know. Last week I asked, I was like, what does Gunnar have to do to make the list? Because I left him off my list completely last week.
Yeah.
And, this helps. Team going 5-1, hitting home runs, top the AL leaderboard in home runs. That's
with respect.
pretty good.
Another guy had like 75 doubles and
apparently
learned
last week too.
And apparently learned how to play defense. And that is the reason why Taylor Ward got the number 1 spot over Gunnar Henderson, because that's kind of a game changer if Taylor Ward isn't going to be a 0 defensively, because before this, he had been a 0 defensively. And all of a sudden, it's not just that he made the play, it's that jut in that really awkward spot that I hate in a ballpark. I effing hate that exists. It's cartoonish. So to go play it that way, that's unbelievable. I don't think we're giving him nearly enough credit. And I know they lost the game, so that probably has something to do with why we're not giving him enough credit. But, if Taylor Ward is going to start showing up and posting up defensively, we're already having a different conversation, because I thought it was a 0 defensive player that only hit home runs. And while for the most part he had been a 0 defensive player, he was not only hitting home runs. If he's now not a 0 defensively, if we're now talking about a guy that can play a little bit of defense and hits like this, we're having a wildly different conversation about what Taylor Ward is and what he brings to the Orioles. Griffin wants to show you the catch that he thought was still only good enough to be number 2 on the list.
Well, they lost the game.
Right.
You kind of defended it for me.
Nothing else he did this week mattered. This is from Apple TV on Friday
Gunnar
night.
hit 4 home runs. It's pretty good.
Look at that. In that awkward jut. Oof. There you go. Yeah, it's not aesthetically pleasing necessarily. He's not going to turn into Cedric Mullins all of a sudden athletically, but my God, that was a play. Taylor Ward, number 1 for the week because of the defense. Yeah, sure. 3 down. I didn't know what order to put him in, and I could listen. And I think, and at first I was in danger of recency bias, but I didn't end up. I readjusted. My number 3 is Shane Baz, who I think it's greater disappointment because the Orioles very clearly intended for him to be their number 3 starter this season, and he's I don't know what to say. It's not good. 5 innings of work, 11 base runners on Friday night. That is untenable. It's a miracle it was as close as it was. Shane Baz is my number 3.
Shane Baz escaped. I went with Nick Rackett because he's awful. And
he's not even supposed to be here today.
I know he's not, but he was in the game in a critical spot, and completely pissed down his leg.
Show some respect.
Nick Rackett, whatever we want to call it. He's my number 3, and I'm hoping we never have to see him pitch again in an Orioles uniform.
Number 2 is Kyle Bradish, who you can say got through 5 innings, but
you'd be really down on the rotation.
How could you not be?
Because they went 5-1, I guess, and they all got through. Outside Bassett, they all got through 5 innings. Like
that's an accomplishment. Kyle Bradish got through 5 innings, but he got through 5 innings, putting 9 guys on base in 5 innings, and he got through. How did he get through the 5th inning? How did he get through it?
I think.
But
it was kind of strategic. He didn't want to affect his ERA, so he was like, let me get an unearned run across
there
here.
You go.
This run's going to score probably.
Give up an unearned run, and then we'll get the out on the play. He didn't get the out. He didn't get through a 5th inning. Someone else got him through the 5th inning after he had a complete meltdown. I pray Brad Brock was trying to sell me on the idea. Maybe just getting through the 5th will be the turning point for Kyle Bradish. I pray. There's no way that this is the Kyle Bradish story. We know he's better than this. But that was 9 base runners over 5 innings against the White Sox. It is a mess. We can't pretend like it isn't. Kyle Bradish, number 2.
Pete Alonso is my number 2. Obviously can't really be ignored at this point.
Who your number 1 is.
He's the guy. I told you who it was going to be last Monday. Run out a freaking pop fly. I mean, it's ridiculous. This is one of the worst signings. This is proving to be one of the worst signings maybe in Orioles history. The team had just won the most games between 2023 to 2024 of anyone in baseball.
This is the problem.
Who are we going to sign? Oh, we got Juan Soto's available in free agency. Max Fried. Maybe bring back Corbin Burns.
No one.
Instead, let's give our first multi-year contract in half a decade.
No one likes
and it's going to be $50 million to Tyler freaking O'Neill.
Just trying to analyze a week of Orioles baseball. And
I mean, my God, I would sign Chris Davis 20 times to that same contract before bringing back Tyler O'Neill. That image is going to him walking back to the dugout on a ball that lands in play while Adley sprinting around the bases and scoring. I mean, it's unbelievable. Because then Mountcastle had a base hit right after that. So O'Neill would have. I mean, maybe not again. A real baseball player would have scored
one play in one
on
game
from there
that they won.
Well, and it doesn't help that he's an absolute zero defensively.
He didn't play this week.
Hopefully it stays that way. I mean,
this is a problem. You have a problem, and I don't want to do.
He's a horrible player. It was a horrible signing.
No. You have a problem. You're mad at Tyler O'Neill for whatever. See the lady.
He's got a lot. It's gonna take a lot more than hitting 3 home runs against the Colorado Rockies to change my mind.
You're doing a bit because that is not a. You are not actually looking at the week of Orioles baseball. You're just looking.
Well, they had a good week, so this does get Tyler O'Neill. I mean, if they had ended up losing,
that's what you're looking
2 of 3 to Chicago.
You don't like Tyler O'Neill, and so you want to do a bit, which is not. That's not right. I'm telling you that. I don't want to do.
None
of
the starters gave up more than 3 runs in a game.
And most of them stunk. Most of them stunk, and this notion that if they just magically work out of it and
it helps that the bullpen had an amazing week as well.
Correct.
They bailed them out.
But you don't pretend like the starting pitching was good.
I'm not saying it was good, but it wasn't. They weren't the 3. I don't think any of them were the 3 worst players of the week.
I mean, when you're not good, I don't know what to say. These guys weren't good. They weren't. Period. Pete Alonso was number 1. That being said, and I hope that Sunday was a turning point.
What I said too.
I hope that's the case, but we can't pretend like it was for the week. If we're actually having a fair judgment of the week, which I'm not sure that we do that around here, but if we're having a fair judgment of the week, Pete Alonso had a very bad week.
Unfortunately for Tyler O'Neill, they won 5 games, and somehow, in spite of him,
this is what we do. That's what Griffin does. Me, I'm down the line. I'm a straight shooter.
Sure, yeah.
Call it like it is. That's the way that it works around here. We'll get that up for whatever reason at glennclarkradio.com here a little bit later. Let's get a tidbit. Tidbit is brought to you by me.
Yeah. Why?
Because we don't know anything. So I get to bring you tidbit. How great am I? I'm the best.
What a hero.
What you got for tidbit?
We talked about the Masters, and since you're such a big golf guy, the stats been going around a lot, but the 3rd guy to win back-to-back Masters, Rory McIlroy.
Nick Faldo, right?
Yes.
And Tiger?
Yes.
Yeah. And
sorry, I meant 4th guy. Sorry, there's 3 others. I meant there's 3 others. 4th, he's the 4th guy to win the Masters in back-to-back years.
Is it Jack?
Yes, it is.
That's what I thought.
Yes, it is.
All
right, and then he also becomes the I forgot to count this. Multiple people, a ton of people have won it twice. 1, 2, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Like 20 guys have won it twice.
Wow.
However, there are 8 guys that have won it 3 times.
8 guys. Well, we had this question recently.
Oh, you did?
Well, no, we were talking about it last week because it came up at trivia. And it was Tiger, Jack, and Arnie that had won it the most.
In what order?
Arnie the fewest of that group. Jack, Tiger, Arnie.
Correct. 6 for Jack, 5 for Tiger, 4 for
Arnold. And then Sam Snead only won it 3 times, I found out, because I thought he had won it 4.
Correct.
Nobody
else has won it.
Everybody else was
all 3. Yeah.
We literally did this last week. Who'd won the Masters 4 times or more? That was a question at trivia last week, and I gave it to you on Tuesday. Are you doing drugs? Are you using?
I anything that happens golf related?
Are you using medical marijuana now?
You see this side of my.
There?
You see this. Something goes in this ear. If it's golf related, comes right out.
Yeah, that's not.
Goes right out the other side.
That's not the way that it works. Gary Player, right?
Yes, Gary Player 3.
Just to let him come back and hit a golf ball every year. How many total were there? I got 5.
He's South African.
Did you? I mean, like, what? Why are you surprised by that? You don't know anything about Gary Player.
No,
Why would it surprise you that he's South African?
I don't know. I just
like what a bizarre response that was.
I didn't know that.
Phil's won it 3 times, right?
Yes, he has. Most recently in
10.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
No. Yes. That's crazy.
2 more.
I only thought that because you said 20 and didn't say 2,000.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I kind of gave it to you.
And
Darn.
anything more recent than that would seem very unlikely to me. I don't know.
See how good this guy is.
03 and 07.
No.
When were they?
04 and 06.
That's pretty close.
No, you were wrong, though.
Hey, based on trivia rules, we get 1 year either way, so I would have gone 2 for 2. Who else has won it 3 times? Bubba Watts only won 2. Who else has won it 3 times? Scotty's only won 2, right?
One of the guys, Scotty only won twice in 3 years. The one guy you got to go back. He was the first to ever win it 3 times.
First to ever win it 3 times. Ben Hogan?
Not Ben Hogan. I believe he only won twice. No, Ben. Oh yeah, Ben won twice.
I'm not sure. Byron Nelson.
Only twice.
Losers.
Right
what
there, though.
Giant losers they are. I really don't know. I don't know.
Born in Houston, Texas.
Born in Houston, Texas.
Died in 1983.
Died in 19. I'm sure I'm going to get this.
Won in 1940, 47, and 50.
40, 47, and 50. Yeah, I got nothing.
Jimmy Demaret?
I genuinely.
Demerit, maybe?
Yeah, sure.
D-E-M-A-R-E-T.
Genuinely do not know the answer to this question.
Well, he's won. He was the first guy to ever win it 3 times.
Good for him. Is that it?
One more, and we did mention him already.
God, we've already mentioned him?
Yeah. Just not in this context.
Not in this context. Who did I bring
As a
up?
3-time winner.
Who did I bring up? Not in this context. Oh, Faldo.
Yes,
yeah,
Nick Faldo. Nick Faldo also won 3 times, back-to-back in 89, 90, and then in...
the year that Greg Norman collapsed. 90...
He, collapsed on the course?
96.
Yes,
96?
Yeah, 96.
No, he had... Greg Norman... go back and look. The 96 Masters, Greg Norman had, a bigger than Rory.
Like
an outrageous lead. Had never won.
I am so bad at golf.
Hang on a second. 1996.
Because that does make sense to say.
Oh my God, that's really bad, man. You just thought he died.
That's what I was thinking when you said some guy collapsed.
Greg Norman had a 6-shot lead going into the final round.
Over
6-shot lead.
6-stroke deficit going into the final day. Yeah, that's tough. That's pretty
bad. It's not great. It's not great. And it's so much worse than that because Faldo ended up winning by 5.
Oh my God.
He didn't just blow the lead.
You have back-to-back.
He
triple bogeys.
Utterly pissed down his leg. Utterly and completely fell apart when it was all there in front of him. Greg Norman, who the only slam he ever won was the British Open, never won any of the other slams. Despite the fact that he was definitely considered to be the greatest golfer of that era, before Tiger, of the post-Jack, pre-Tiger, he was the star. Never won the Masters.
Wow, Tiger missed the cut this year at 20 years old in 96, came back.
And won the Masters in 97.
By 12 strokes.
Yep. Oh, yes, correct. Dominant. All right, very good. Let's get tubular.
Have you ever thought of taking a cruise to these wonderful destinations with sunny skies and beautiful beaches? Well, wait no longer. We're ready for you to cruise from the Cruise Maryland Terminal.
Have a little phrase that you can go from baggage to margarita in about 15 minutes.
Choose fun with an array of destinations, onboard activities, entertainment, and world-class cuisine.
Contact your travel agent and book your cruise today. Let your adventure begin.
All right, here we go. Here's what's coming up tubular-wise this evening. The Orioles do indeed open up a series of the Diamondbacks. They have not made it official yet, have they?
No, no.
They're still listing it as TBA. Dean Kramer, I've already put it in there. It's already Dean Kramer is starting tonight. We know that.
You better hope so. You better hope you don't jinx anything.
Dean Kramer against Ryan Nelson, 6:35 on Masson. The WNBA draft is tonight at 7 o'clock on ESPN. Nice. How is Lauren Betts not the number 1 pick? Like, how is that? Am I crazy? Like, I
heard she wants to stay and transfer to Towson or something.
That's the reason. I was looking at a mock. Hang on a second.
Coach Harp's a great recruiter.
Is that what it is?
Yeah.
I mean, Maryland legend Laura Harper. I mean, like, so they think it's going to be Azzi Fudd who's going to go number 1 overall according to ESPN. And look, I mean, I'm really not going to debate with that because she's awesome. But then they have Olivia Miles from TCU, number 2. They don't have Lauren Betts until the mock draft at ESPN has Lauren Betts going to
my Mystics?
Washington Mystics.
All right, there we go.
Overall pick. That would be
quite
the addition, right?
That is weird.
This is the problem. We don't pay nearly enough attention.
I know.
We really don't know what we're talking about. But we watch Lauren Betts and we're like, Jesus Christ, she is good. Like, why wouldn't every team want her? Anyway, that's all that's going on tonight. There's nothing else that matters.
Well, we got a couple more episodes of Star Wars, the Darth Maul series on Disney Plus.
Sure.
So that's really the only thing that actually matters.
Sure.
Who you got? Part 1 of the season 29 finale of The Voice.
I've got Joe.
Oh, really? Good year for him. Season 1 finale of the Reggie Dankis, Rise and Fall of Reggie Dankis as well. Can't wait. What do you think is going to happen?
It's fine. I mean, I wish. It's fine.
There's also a Netflix Noah Kahan documentary on Netflix.
But
same thing.
I mean, how is there enough material yet to do a documentary about Noah Kahan?
I don't know.
Been around for like 3
Apparently
years.
Some doc crew followed him back to his home in Vermont to get back in tune with himself.
Who are we kidding? I'll probably watch it. Like, who are we kidding? Very good. Thanks today to Darryl Strawberry. Thanks also to Ryan Spilborghs. We get it up in the greatest hits section of the.
Let's see. Mark Wahlberg and Henry Winkler will be on Kimmel tonight.
I would definitely, if that was a buddy cop picture, I'd be on board. I'd watch that. Tab at GlennClarkRadio.com. Tomorrow on the program? All right, then.
Tuesday. All our Tuesday stuff.
Why is it that Monday's been better than Tuesday recently? What's been
going
on
Because people
there?
don't want to step on our toes. They know it's their big Tuesday show.
Is that what it is?
People just don't want to step
that's
on
not the case. We've been
step on our
stronger
toes
on Mondays than we've been on Tuesdays. I can't quite figure that out. Okay, then. We'll do that tomorrow.
Well, we'll talk about Dean Kramer's season debut. And
Sure. All that. Thanks to everybody at PressBox, all of our great sponsors and partners, including the Baltimore Orioles, Costas Inn, Baltimore area High's Dairy Stores, Leading Edge Auto Body, Warnken Law, 1-800-GAMBLER, HelpMyGamblingProblem.org, CruiseMaryland, CountySports.zone, your local Toyota dealer, BuyAToyota.com. Thanks to Griffin at Griffin_Bass. Follow us, Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok at Glenn Clark Radio. Have a great Monday evening. Go Birds, Duke sucks.